How's it growing? I'm here at Tree Amigos Growers in Davie, Florida. This is a spotlight episode that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I'm excited for you to meet these guys who I think of as pillars of our local garden community. Also, when it comes to organic gardening, Jason, Santiago, and I are very much on the same page. I often get asked about my top recommended sources for plants. And first of all, I like to support local community, local small businesses as much as possible, and not so much the big box stores. In this episode, you're gonna see why here in South Florida, I recommend Tree Amigos Growers. Let's go in.
Like, cause everything we get, we grow ourselves.
Yeah.
No matter who you are, you can learn how to grow your own food. You don't have to do it forever and all the time like we do as farmers. But once you learn it, even with a small one little pot of growing your own plants, your own food, no one can ever take that knowledge away from you. And you can pass it on. Helping people to grow their own food is our core philosophy. 100%. Because when you can grow your own food, you have food security. So the more independent we can be as a community, taking care of each other, looking after each other, the more resilient we are. And food is one of the top basic things that someone needs.
The fact that we like to do everything organically automatically sets us apart. And I would like that to not be the case, but you know, and the industry standard is not geared towards organic at this moment, but trending towards it for sure. And we're not doing it just for the trend, we're doing it because that's our belief system since we started farming about 10 years ago.
Beneficial nematodes.
As importantly as the organic thing is the way that we interact with our customers, the customer service we provide. We've gotten that from many customers. They say, this is the best experience I've ever had, and we want to keep it that way. So,
and that's especially because we don't measure our success by how much plants come out of here. We don't measure our success by how much soil or plant food or all the organic things we help people have. We really measure our success through our gardener success. So we calculate how much square feet each bag gets us, how much plant gets us, and it helps to guide us, you know, that we're actually teaching people. And that's what our passion is.
Our sense of community is very important to us. It all boils down to our families, and, you know, it springs from there. And, you know, like Jason, you know, he kind of became a teacher to me early on and became part of my family as time passed. And I feel, you know, it's a reciprocated feeling where we can depend on each other, not only for business purposes, but, you know, personal, and we're friends, we're family.
We're
and I feel, yeah.
Equals, honestly. We hold each other with so much love and care and respect for each other that even if we don't agree on something, we find a way to talk it through and figure that out. I know he said that I was his teacher early on, but we've worked so hard and been through so much together that, you know, he's my brother. And I'm lucky to be able to start a business with someone I have that good a relationship with.
Yeah, thank you, man. That's same here. I feel like that's really like where it comes from. That kind of gets reflected onto our clientele and to our extended community. Is that feeling that, look, here we are a family, so by extension you become part of that family.
And we're just learning together.
And exactly, it's that is a key here. It's like we don't close ourselves off to learning from the people that come to us. It's not just a one-way street. We've learned so much from the people that come to us with like, oh, have you ever grown these varieties? This is from my home country. I'm like, I didn't even know that existed. That's amazing. And it grows here. Wow, great. So little by little accumulating that knowledge, and is that importance of like knowing your local growers is just beyond any measure.
Yeah.
Because Google will teach you everything, but good luck trying to decipher it all.
Absolutely.
But the local grower can tell you step 1, 2, and 3, make it easy for you. And that's really what we took that philosophy from, is like the local growers, the local community, and making it very precise for South Florida instead of just like a general gardening. Oh, here you can garden. Yeah, no, that works for the north, that works for the cold climates, but what's going on in our subtropical region, you know, that's really important to us to be able to show people and to learn from people.
Leo was asking if bokashi is made.
I'm really grateful for the team that we put together. My dad, my brother, Jason, and I are here, you know, every day, really focused on what we're doing. I love the fact that I can work with my family close together. They're doing amazing jobs. My dad has really taken a role of, he's always been a teacher.
Yeah, his
he's-
character.
His character, and
Yeah.
he has also taught, different schools and stuff like that early on in his career. He's a very technical man. So he's brought another leg of that knowledge that we didn't have the time to develop. And he's doing that for us in practical ways, day by day, measuring soil pHs, measuring alkalinity, measuring nutrients, like things that we were like, yeah, it's good enough. He's like, let me make it better than good enough. And I really respect and I really love that. We've been able to kind of tying that group into a very focused and productive and dedicated team. Yeah.
Here at Tree Amigos, we have a 12-month growing season in South Florida. And so we've gone through so much to learn what that season is. We have planting calendars on our website for anyone that wants to look at it at treeamigosgrowers.com under monthly planting guides. And so the most beautiful thing about here is that we're in the center of so many different areas. We can grow food from the northern climates that gets cold and can't tolerate much heat in our winter times. And our summer times, we can hit up Caribbean, South America, Central America, Southeast Asia, Africa, all these different lands, Polynesian islands, and grow those food. So we have the beautiful to be as diverse as possible here. So throughout the year, we grow over 200 types of plants. And what we focus on, because remember, if our core is to help teach people how to grow food and medicine, what we focus on is food plants, so vegetable plants, culinary herbs, spices, some fruit trees, and medicinal herbs. And of course, every garden needs beauty. And we're like the practical farmers because everything in our whole life is like production feeding people. So the flowers we grow usually play a secondary role in the garden by helping keeping out bugs, bringing in the pollinators. And so, remember I said there's over 200 types of plants? That doesn't include varieties. In this next, from September to mid-November or mid-December, there's over 230 plants being grown of different varieties. That's just the tip of the iceberg. This time of year, it's tomatoes, lettuce, kale, collards, bok choy. What else?
Celery.
Yeah.
You got celery. You got a
Fennel.
lot of Asian greens.
Yep. Peppers.
A lot of the culinary herbs are really, popular right now.
Yep.
And I would say the key for that is grow at the right time.
Yeah.
So we have variety, but doesn't mean you can do whatever you want whenever you want.
Yeah.
With a lot of luck and a lot of success. You have to, or we encourage you to plant in season so that you can get the best yields out of what you're doing and keep your season going for the whole year.
Yeah. And so with that, right, for about what we have, remember, we're not just plants. Plants is a tool we use to help people grow food. We need this so we can get more people food secure out here. But with that, in order to grow plants, you need soil. You need to feed your plants. And so everything you have to grow an organic garden is what we carry. It's stuff that, like, not just random stuff we buy off some random shelf. These are all things we trialed ourselves. The reason why a lot of our gardeners come back to us is because you can pick up the phone and call us and get the tips on how to use those items so you can grow the food like we do as farmers.
Are we gonna bag soil?
Yeah.
The most important thing, right? Forget the plants, not as important. It all comes down to the soil. Soil is the most critical part. Remember, we have everything for you to be successful. But when you're shopping and picking out plants, like, people don't just walk around on their own. Like, we walk with you, we talk with you. We, ask questions and learn what you want to do so we can get you to your success. And guess what? Our soil blend is what we use as farmers. So with our soil blends, we can guarantee you everything you're doing. If you have a problem, most likely we hit it. Remember how Santi says we're measuring the pH, we're checking the EC, like whatever, the geeky science soil stuff. We're doing that so you don't have to. You send me a picture of your plant, I can easily tweak that plant because we understand our soil and growing conditions.
It smells like composted manure.
This one does have some composted manure in it.
Okay.
Got two different types of compost. Native humic acid, which is like a natural stimulant in the soil that helps roots grow. It's what stores all the nutrients in there. Native fulvic acid, native bacterias, native mycorrhizae fungus. The soil is a digestive tract. And that's what soil does. It's the immune system and the way that a plant's able to eat. And so having a well-balanced and inoculated soil of bacteria is the first step, and then you got to feed that soil. Because when you feed the soil feeds the plants.
Okay.
Dale, Santi.
I was here and Cynthia just showed up and I was gonna let her know I was gonna be here, but didn't get around to it, and she just ended up showing up.
That's because gardeners are magnetic.
That's right.
I'm here picking up plants for David Community Garden. We're doing a herb workshop next Sunday. They give us really good discounts for the nonprofit work that we do. So they have helped us establish the Hope Outreach Food Bank Garden, and they've also helped us establish the David Community Garden.
I'm not familiar with EM1.
Have you heard of compost tea?
Yeah,
All right, you make compost tea?
I normally do, and I will be starting that up again.
Okay. Oftentimes with compost tea, it's fantastic, right? Because remember what I said, the soil
Right.
itself is the digestive tract for plants. And so it's all about the beneficial bacteria. Just like in your soil and our guts, our microbiome is where over 70% of our immune system is. And so compost tea is that bacteria to feed the soil that will live, and the bacteria will live in here. And then those bacteria fight off pests, fight off pathogens, fight out root rotting diseases. They also, just like your gut does, like when you eat an apple, you don't just automatically absorb an apple. It goes through the digestive tract and the microbes break that down. And in return, when they break down the apple, that's when our body can assimilate the nutrients. That's what the bacteria does here. That's why compost tea is so important. There's a couple challenges of compost tea. One, it's a pain to set up and clean. Like, I'm an organic farmer. We used to brew this all the time to the fields, and it's a big process. The other thing is, you don't know what's in your compost. So if you don't have the cleanest quality compost, you could be spreading nematodes. You could be brewing a batch of nematodes. You could be brewing a batch of Fusarium wilts or whatever the different fungal and bacterial diseases. The only hope that we have is that it's so well balanced that they fight each other off and the good survive. That compost tea, you might have heard the term beneficial bacteria. All right, EM1 or beneficial microbes, right? EM1 stands for effective microbes, because they know what bacteria is in there. They know what yeast is in there. They have an idea what all this stuff comes from. And so it's a shelf-stable fermentation product that you just mix with water and go put on your plants. And what it does is it's a food source for the good bacteria and for the worms to come and start populating.
Or could you use it to add to your compost tea?
Yeah, you definitely could use that because
Okay.
you're just inoculating a compost tea.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I've been looking for something like that. So I'm gonna get some.
Yeah, that's perfect. The other cool thing too is he was asking me about a product called bokashi. So bokashi is a rice brand. You familiar with that? Because you're going to say you're going to ask me about bokashi.
I saw your video where you talked about it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Cool. So what video?
Bokashi.
You were talking about soil building. I guess preparing a bed.
Oh yeah,
preparing.
That's
Yes.
the video we made. Okay. Bokashi, it's a soil product. It's a beneficial bacteria again. Look at it as a probiotic brand. 100% what it is. You know when you like ferment cucumbers or something like that, you add probiotics to ferment them down. Well, bokashi, all this is 1 part EM1 to 1 part molasses, all sprayed over rice bran. So you're just giving the bacteria or the EM1 a space to live on. And so when we add it to our garden bed, it starts to inoculate our garden bed that way. It's also a fertilizer. It's like a 2-4-2. So if you have tomatoes or anything fruiting, if you give it on that too, it's going to bloom up the flowers and fruit. But the way we usually recommend a lot of people using it is you don't even have to put it directly in your soil. Remember we talked about probiotics fermenting? Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, bokashi, you sprinkle this on your food scraps. Everyone wants to compost, right? But the rats come, it smells, you know what to do with it. Well, you sprinkle a little bit later, like a tablespoon of bokashi on your food scraps, and it pickles them, it ferments them. You open up the lid, you could put meat in there. Like I know this because one of our guys tried it out. He's like, all right, I'm gonna put some meat in there and some cheese in there and fish. And we're like, don't do that, that's gross. Because you leave it on your counter for 2 weeks. Right on your kitchen counter. He's like, no, we're gonna see it, but I wanna push it to the limit. And guess what? It smelled like a kombucha. It didn't smell funky like you would think rotting meat would on your counter for 2 weeks. And so when it's done, it's not like a compost like this is our compost blend. It's fermented food scraps that you can then just bury right in your garden bed. Act like bokashi. It's going to be a fertilizer. It's going to break down because it's the bacteria that live on that can live in environments without air, and the good bacteria. And so everyone thinks anaerobic is only good or bad, but there's good ones. That's a bokashi composter.
Okay.
And what happens is you can squeeze it down, you get the juice out. You're pretty much making your own EM1 that you add to water and go water into the ground.
Okay.
EM1 you can give the chickens, their drinking water. You spray their bedding with it to get rid of salmonella. It's like a really beautiful product.
We got Purple Beauty and Yolo Wonder peppers, which are red bell peppers and purple bell peppers. A lot of peppers have been sold so far, and people are really looking for peppers and tomatoes, especially at the beginning of the season. We have our mix here, our potting mix ready. We've included humic acid and the sustain fertilizer that we typically use in all our plants go in here, as well as some worm castings. And then the base soil, which is typically coconut coir base, but because of supply issues hasn't been available for at least a month now. So we switched over to a more peat base. Every single seed that comes through here is touched by somebody's hand. Every single plant that's transplanted is touched by somebody's hand. So all of our love and energy goes right into the plants from the beginning, from seeding all the way to transplant and all the way until we give it to you to take to your home. And I know you guys are going to give it an amazing home at your own gardens, and you're going to have an abundance. So that's pretty much what we do here at the production site when it's the main season. White roots that look very hairy, right? Hairy roots are healthy roots. When we tend to overwater our plants, you'll start seeing brown roots develop, and that's a clear indication that there's some kind of fungal infection happening because of overwatering. We don't want to encounter that really ever. So when you're growing plants, it's better to be a dry grower than a wet grower. You don't want to be tending towards wet plants. You can definitely let them dry in between watering, especially peppers, tomatoes, and cucumbers. Whatever soil medium you use, to whatever watering schedule you have, you really start developing a dance and a kind of a rhythm with your own plants to make them as healthy as possible. This is what happens when you overwater plants consistently. We treated onions as any other crop, and that is the wrong thing to do. When you overwater onions, that happens really quickly. After stopping the water process, we can see some of these plants are coming back. Plants that were dying are regrowing again. I'm not going to sell these. These are not going to be for sale. If anything, I'll plant them in my own garden to see how much recovery can happen from plants like that. So our gardens are also test grounds for what we do here, what we advise people to do. So if I've tried it here and it's worked for me, I'll let you know. And if it doesn't work for you, you'll let me know. And then we'll find a good middle ground, or we'll keep experimenting until we say, okay, this is consistently something that you can expect, or maybe this is, a one-off, or, it's just the beauty of gardening. You kind of interact and find that different soils, different sun locations, different wind locations make a big difference in the same exact plant coming from the same exact soil.
So with our online presence, people have been able to learn from us. Because when we send out emails, we send out guides on how to grow your own food. We talk, we have a conversation about it. And so to bring his brother back into it, John, who's with some people in the background right now, he was like, you got to get this online shop going. No way, man, we're so busy. We got to grow plants. Like, him and I we're farmers. We're like, people need plants. People need to learn how to grow food. Forget everything else. I think that's one of the reasons why we've been so successful, is because we grinded in the time to get the base out and didn't worry about the sparkles and glitter everywhere in the beginning. Yeah. And the pandemic hit. And when the pandemic hit, I remember I was off that day. I was off one of the days. And this guy, because everyone thought the world was going down in flames. And so everyone was buying all the toilet paper off the shelves. Well, guess what? Plant, soil, all that stuff too. People that never even cared to be outdoors is like, I need food. And we started the business not with that in mind, but with that in mind in case things ever happen to people, in case these things happen, at least they would have the knowledge to care for each other. And so once that happened, that day he got rushed with so many people around him, we closed down that day. That was the last day we were open from the pandemic. Within 24 hours, we had an online shop for people to buy stuff. And our message to people was, don't go out and panic buy. You got to learn how to grow your food. Take the baby steps to do this. We still have access to stores. But when we put that online website out, we sold out within 24 to 48 hours of everything. We had thousands of plants in the greenhouse, and we had to make the decision together to take the loss on everything. We said, you know what? At the bottom of our strategic objective, of our guidelines in our company, it said we will never, ever sacrifice the health and safety of our community or ecosystems for financial gain. So we always check in with ourselves, like, is this really in line with what we're doing, or is this here to make a profit? And so we said, we have a lot of plants, we're gonna lose them. Let's just do whatever we can to keep people safe and not keep people, everyone was in panic mode. We didn't want that. Put the website up, sold out of every single thing we had. Blew us away with how it happened. It gave us the ability to take 2 months off. Not off, but to like get this place more safer, get protocols in place, get more plants going for people. And then for a year, was it a whole year? We only did online shopping with contactless pickups.
That's more than that. A year and a half.
Right? We just finally started opening up to people to come in here. So since COVID, right, March, we closed down for 2 months. We opened up to online. We say we've opened back up, but we haven't done a grand announcement. We kind of just started allowing people to come back in here. This whole time, people were like, you're crazy, you're a nursery. You should let people come walk around, and why are you doing this? And it's like, look, we're not here to take any chances. We're still learning what COVID is. We don't want to risk ourselves, our families, and you. And so you can easily shop online. We'll provide you all the tips you need and pick up. And now people come in here, but you can see this guy and I work together 7 days a week right now. Let's call it 6 days a week normally. We're still masked up next to each other, and we work outdoors because there is that chance. And that's one of our core beliefs right there, is just protect each other. I'm not going to sacrifice you. I'm not going to sacrifice you or anyone else coming through.
And if we hadn't taken those measures, I mean, we could have been in a different scenario, because 2 of the members here got COVID. Actually, 1 member got COVID, and the other member was very close, living in the same household. So they were out for a good month. We were short-staffed for a whole month. And if we were all not wearing masks, we would have all been out.
Yeah.
So for us, it's like, it's okay to go sometimes against what is out there in the public. I'm okay with that,
Especially as a business,
yeah.
People call us,
Yeah, and I feel like that's just the step that as a business owners we take, and that's a risk we take, and we gladly do it because of our philosophy and our vision, which is don't sacrifice community for money, and we just stuck to that. And I think it's worked out, and people hopefully can see that we are, doing what's best for us as families, for us as friends, and for the wider community. And really, that's what it's all been about.
Yeah. We still, the COVID, everything changed in regards to how customers were shopping with us, how we were communicating with our gardeners, and how we all work together. So in this space, now we are letting people walk in, we require masks. And it's weird for people, we're outdoors, Even you behind the camera have a mask right now. We're doing everything. And we understand some people don't accept that, they don't like that. But for us, it's not up for debate. We can gladly help you on the phone with our whole hearts, or you can shop online and we can help you out that way too. But we're gonna devote ourselves to you. We're gonna devote ourselves to anyone that comes through here. So there's certain things that we do as a team to make sure our boundaries are respected as well, and we care for each other. And so if we can't wear masks in front of each other or keep distance when we need to, I know it's, October in 2021, we're still being this way, then it's hard for us to go and spend after hours on phone calls, 20, 15 minutes, 30 text messages, knowing that you don't want to do that for us. So we've had people leave us since the pandemic because of that. We've also built stronger, trusting relationships. We've closed down for probably about a month outside of the pandemic when we were in contact with someone with COVID, and we'd all get tested waiting for the results. And it happened a few times. Yeah, we could have just kept moving and doing our thing, but we're here to really help and serve people, and we can't say we're doing that and be putting profit first before people.
Yeah.
But the top of our ethics is care for the people, care for the earth, and share the abundance. So we're here to share the knowledge that we have. Like I said in the beginning, we didn't focus on the sparkles, right? We focus on getting it out and being there for people. And so as we've grown, we're able to because of the team. He mentioned his father. Well, his brother's the same way. His father has taken on more of the plant side to help out with Santiago on the production and really fine tune things so we can always have an answer. Like, just know there's one thing. There's never one day you'll stop learning. The day we stop learning is the day it's all over for each of us. And so no matter how much experience you have, like we like to say all the time, like from the 10 years we've been farming together with 70 to 90 hour work weeks, there's over 80,000 hours of experience out here. We'll still learn something from anyone that walks in this door though. Never ever will we say that. And we'll say this is what we do. You can follow our directions and our guides so you can get success. And once you get that space that we're talking about, challenge us. You know, go outside the box, do something different and come back and teach us something else.
100%.
But start with the basics.
Yeah.
And his brother has been so on point with getting our message across to people. His specialty is really communicating, social, bringing people together and being transparent. So he's helped us, even though we don't have as much of a social media presence, he's helped us with getting the website together, with thinking about the greater vision, with getting stories from our gardeners and just hearing more about people and asking questions. When people come through here, they feel like he's his family. He takes people, walks them around the farm, like he really puts his whole heart into this.
So this is the worm castings.
The worm casting. Bagging up your worm castings here. Yeah.
Thank you. That is some really good shit right there.
Thing we have to remember, both of them aren't farmers. They weren't here for farming. His brother has over 12 years of experience of managing marketing or communications of a big national non-for-profit. And his father worked his way into being the VP of Toshiba in Latin America. Like, these are two different worlds in farming. And when he first got into farming, his father was like, I don't know, man, you know, he went to business school, he did all these things, and he was like, this is what I'm doing, I love.
Yeah.
And little by little, his father just saw him, his drive, and going forward, and going forward. And then one day, his father just started showing up. When he'd be home from the weekends, him and his mom would help us get the business going, help us clean up a greenhouse we were building out. And then, you know, once he retired, he came over here. So he's like, this is what I want to do. I want to watch you guys grow and watch what you're doing. They weren't, like, John never knew what a plant was. When he first came here that day, he said, how the heck can you tell the difference between these things? They all look the same. But now he can tell stories to everyone because they're learning and they're caring. And honestly, we would not be here without them. The right people in the right place, they take us leagues ahead because we'll hold ourselves back.
Yep.
Boy, it's so true that we never stop learning, like Jason and Santi said. Every day in the garden has another learning experience for us, and no matter how much experience we have, there's always something else that we can learn from each other as gardeners. And I'm so glad I learned about EM1 from Jason. And so of course I bought some, as well as some herbs and worm castings. And a year ago, I bought this very special banana plant from Tree Amigos. It's called Blue Java, AKA ice cream banana. I didn't have this area ready to plant until about 7 months ago. And I cannot believe how quickly this thing grew and how big it grew. In closing, the more I get to know these guys, the more I admire and respect them. And it's really about building relationships and trust. And you're not going to get that from buying plants at a big box store nursery. A couple of things I want to point out. First, there's a great fruit stand here where I bought a yellow dragon fruit, the best tasting dragon fruit I've ever had. And I had my first taste of chirimoya. If you ever had chirimoya, it is delicious. Finally, this couple came all the way from Homestead, Florida. That's at least an hour away from Tree Amigos. Tree Amigos is a trusted source not only to buy plants, but to learn how to grow organic food. And as you saw, they're very passionate about what they do. I hope you enjoyed this episode at Tree Amigos Growers. If you got something out of this, do me a big favor. Subscribe to the channel, click like on the video, click on that bell so that you'll be notified when I upload videos in the future, and let's grow together.